Good morning, everyone. Hopefully, everyone's having a good day. Today, the story that I'm reading is called Stone Soup. It's by Jon Muth. It's one of my favorite books, and I haven't read it in a long time, so we'll see what happens. Three monks, Hoke, Loke, and Sue, traveled along the mountain road. They talked about cat whiskers, the color of the sun, and giving. "What makes one happy, Sue?" asked Hook, the youngest monk. Old Sue was the wisest and said, "Let's find out." The sound of a bell brought their gaze to the rooftops of a village below. They could not see from so high above that the village had been through many hard times. Famine, flood, war, and had made the villagers weary and untrustworthy of strangers. They even had some suspicions of their own neighbors. The villagers worked hard, but only for themselves. There was a farmer, a tea merchant, a seamstress, a doctor, a carpenter, and many others. But they had little to do with one another. When the monks reached the foot of the mountain, the villagers disappeared into their homes. No one came out the gates to greet them. And there were people, and when the people saw them enter the village, they closed their windows tightly. The monk knocked on the first door. There was no answer. Then the house went dark. They knocked on the second door, and the same thing happened. It happened again and again, from one house to the next. "These people do not know happiness," they all agreed. "But today, Sue, his face bright as the moon, we shall show them how to make stone soup." They gathered twigs and branches and made a fire. They placed a small tin pot on top and filled it with water from the village well. A brave little girl who had been watching came to them. "What are you doing?" she asked. "We're gathering twigs," said Loke. "We're making a fire," said Hoke. "We're making stone soup." "And we need 3 round, smooth stones," said Sue. The little girl helped the monks look around the courtyard until they found just the right ones. They pulled them, then they put them into the water to cook. These stones will make an excellent soup," said Sue. "But it's a very small pot. That won't make very much, I'm afraid." "My mother has a big pot," said the little girl. The little girl ran home and she started to take the pot. Her mother asked her what she was doing. "The 3 strangers are making soup from stones," she said. "They need our biggest pot." Said the girl's mother. Stones are easy to come by. I'd like to learn how to do that." The monks poked the coals and made smoke drift up, and the neighbors peered from their windows. The fire had the large pot in the middle of the village was truly a curiosity. One by one, the people of the village came out just to see what this stone soup was. Of course, home-style stone soup should be well seasoned with salt and pepper. "This is true," said Loke as he stirred the giant pot filled with water and stones. "But we have none." "I have some salt and pepper," shouted the scholar, his eyes big with curiosity. He disappeared and came back with salt and pepper and even a few other spices. Sue took a taste. "The last time we had stone soup of this size and color, carrots made the broth really sweet." "Carrots?" said the woman from the back. "I have a few carrots, but just a few." She ran off and returned with as many carrots as she could and dropped them into the pot. "Do you think it would be better with onions?" asked Loke. Oh, yes, maybe onions would taste good, said the farmer. He hurried off and returned in a moment with 5 big onions, and then he dropped them into the pot. Now, that's a fine soup, he said. The villagers all nodded their heads, and as they could smell, as the smell was very agreeable. But if we only had some mushrooms, Sue said, rubbing his chin. Several villagers licked their lips, and a few dashed away and returned with fresh mushrooms, noodles and pea pods and cabbage. Something magical began to happen to the villagers as each person opened up their heart to give. The next person gave even more, and this happened, and the soup grew richer and smelled more delicious. I could imagine the emperor would suggest we add dumplings, said one of the villagers. And bean curd, said another. What about a cloud ear and mung beans and yams, said some others. And taro root and wintermelon and baby corn, cried another villager. Garlic, ginger root, soya, lily buds. I have some, I have some, the people cried out. They all ran off, returning, carrying all they could. The monks stirred the bubbling pot. How good it smelled, how good it would taste, how giving the villagers had become. At last the soup was ready. The villagers gathered together. They brought rice and steamed buns. They brought lychee nuts and sweet cakes. They brought tea to drink, and they lit lanterns. Everyone sat down to eat. They had not been together for a feast like this in a very long, as no one could remember the last time. After the banquet, they told stories and sang songs and celebrated long into the night. When they unlocked their doors and took the monks into their homes and gave them a very comfy place to sleep. In the spring morning, everyone gathered near the willows to say farewell. Thank you for all you have given your guests, said the monk. You have been most generous. Thank you, said the villagers. With the gift you have given, we will always have plenty. You've shown us that sharing makes us all richer. And to think, the monk said, to be happy is as simple as making stone soup. That's the end of that story. What did you think of that story? What do you want to share with someone? What did the villagers learn from the monks? Are some of the questions that you can answer or talk to someone about. And when all of this stuff is finished with COVID-19, what do you look forward to doing with your friends and family?